Hi. Earlier this year I was sitting at home inside on my chair, and I noticed that I had really wet socks, and I was a bit surprised. I thought maybe it was just because I went outside in my socks or something and they got wet. So I changed my socks and didn't think too much of it. A couple of days later, same thing, wet socks inside, don't know why, and a bit odd. So upon further investigation, we found that our carpet was wet inside our house. And then upon further investigation, we found out that water was leaking in under the floor into the carpet, and the water had ruined some furniture, and it had destroyed the carpet, and we had to do a lot of work to fix that up. We had to fix some walls and things, and some guttering and very, very important things. And I've learned very quickly in a small amount of time that foundations are a really important thing. And foundations of our faith are a really important thing. In last year, the church has given us two series. One was about the gospel of Jesus and making sure we know every aspect of Jesus' ministry and not just taking one aspect and focusing on that. And also in 2 Peter, just recently with clarity, about how foundations are really important. In Peter, when he says that there's so much false teaching out there, one of the really important things is to know our foundations so we don't get steered off in the wrong direction. Foundations are really important in our faith. Jesus says in Matthew 7, "Anyone who listens to my teaching and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on solid rock. Though the rain comes in torrents and the floodwaters rise and the winds beat against that house, it won't collapse because it is built on bedrock. But anyone who hears my teaching and doesn't obey it is foolish, like a person who builds a house on sand. When the rain and floods come and the winds beat against that house, it will collapse with a mighty crash." I was very fortunate as a young tacker that I was taken by my mum along to church. And I always felt like I knew that there was a God and always believed that there was a God. And that was really important to me. And building upon those foundations early on as a young person was really important. I had great foundations as a young child, and that stayed with me all the way throughout to my adulthood. And the thing about foundations is, what I learned from our house situation is not just that you need them as a good start, but you need to keep an eye on them and make sure that they're safe, they're protected, that nothing's getting up against them. Like the sermon series that we hear, just to revisit our foundations is really important. I am living proof that foundations matter, because I can guarantee you that without my faith and those foundations as a young person, there is no way that my life would have come out this way that it has. Looking around at other people and looking around at other family members, I just know that it would be very different. And I'm thankful that I had those foundations when I was younger. One of the really great things about my story is that I had a lot of people have input into my life, and that helped build those foundations. And it wasn't just people that were staff members at churches, and it wasn't just family, it was just people in the church community. They would take an interest in me as a young person, they would ask questions, they would encourage me in my faith. And that's so important as people who are young, or people that are young in faith, that the church community takes an interest and gathers around them. It's not just the job of the parents for young people, it's not just the job of the church staff, it's all of us that we need to come together and encourage people, get to know people's names and encourage them in their faith and help them keep going. Because I can guarantee you that these unsung heroes of my story, they may not even know the input that they've had or the impact they've had on my life, but it's huge. And I can guarantee that if you can do the same thing for people that are in our church community, it will be just so wonderful for them that when things do get tough and do get rocky, then not only will they have their faith in Christ and their foundations to go back to, but they'll have those memories of people investing in them and being interested in them and showing them God's love. So I hope that you can make it a goal that you will get to know some people who are young in their faith, or young people in general, and get to know them and encourage them in their faith today. Thank you.